Okay, exciting day for us. Really good to put the reps on such a good class. Greatly appreciate our staff and the hard work they've done for the past year, past 2 years in some cases, recruiting some of these players. I feel very good about this class. I feel like they're excellent football players, excellent people, very good in the classroom. I feel good about going in-state and getting some of the top prospects in-state to stay home. Definitely some difference makers that were very important to us. So across the board, very excited about this class top to bottom, and there still could be one or so out there in this class. And then, of course, we'll have a couple spots left to continue to work for the February signing period. So I like where we're at.
The in-state guys, just how did that all come together, getting 5 guys, and how important specifically to get into Louisville was it?
I think it was very important. You know, we've been working these guys for some time. They're there's very good players. You know, you don't know where the players are going to be in state. As I mentioned every year, I think there's always good quality in this state. Sometimes there's not always the quantity. This year there was certainly a good amount of very good football players, and it was a group effort. Really appreciate the work of our staff, and certainly Coach Morrow, our recruiting coordinator, went in there and definitely had a strong impact and built some strong relationships with these kids, along with our position coaches and other guys. And Coach Schlarman started it years ago in that area, and so it was a group effort. But Coach Morrow will talk to you guys here in a minute. Let the big dog come up here in a minute. But he certainly did a very good job, and definitely had a big hand in landing some of these guys.
There are 6 linebackers in this group, and they're all kind of considered outside. Do you start them there and then kind of work out? How do you fit them?
Yeah, they're versatile guys. You know, they're definitely some versatile guys. Some of them, you know, there's a couple really big ones. You know, big outside backers. There's the athletic guys. There's some guys that played inside and outside. So there's a lot of versatility in this group, and you know, when you're a 3-4, you need some linebackers. So outside backer was the biggest area of need, that with defensive back, you know, coming into this year. So you know, certainly feel good about what we did at those positions.
Make it easier to get
Yeah, I definitely think that helps. You see the way we feature the linebackers and what we do, and you know, playing, you know, a heavy dose of 3-4, you know, playing with four linebackers quite a bit definitely helps.
Mark, did you all start with a conscious plan to push into Georgia? Did it just work out?
Yeah, we definitely did. You know, we always recruit that area. I think with our success this year, you know, having some success on the field certainly helps in that area. You know, it's the heart of the SEC in there, and everybody goes into Georgia. There's a lot of good football players in there, but you know, we were definitely dead set on going in there and making sure we get the right players and getting good football players out of that state. They're definitely there.
Here's the outside linebackers comparisons to Josh Allen in your eyes.
That wouldn't be fair to put that on any one person at this point in time, and plus you'd be putting down the other guys. You know, nobody knew Josh Allen was going to be Josh Allen when we were talking about this many years ago, right? I don't think one person probably had a lot to say. Freddie made you all look bad. Why do you think I hired him? So yeah, Freddie had it pegged right away. Yeah.
You have as many as 9 early enrollees. Is that a direct correlation to this early signing period, or is it just a trend?
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with this early signing period. You know, once you put, you know, the majority of your class to bed, you can move on to the next class. And I just walked out of a meeting. Vince can attest to this, maybe 3 minutes ago, and wasn't very pleasant, to be honest with you. I appreciate our guys' effort, but it's on to the next. You know, it's on with developing our players that we have, pushing them academically to meet the standards that we want, and recruiting the right guys in 20. So, you know, there's no rest, no time to sit back, but it does speed things up. So we need to be, you know, working hard on 20s right now, and as we get out in January and February, we'll do that. And also with finishing up this class. But I think it does speed things up a bit. And there's quite a few players that are getting in position to get out early, which it's really good for them. It's good for the players. This has been going on for some time. The first couple years you were maybe a little skeptical, just not see how it works out. But I'm in total favor of it. I think it's very good for the young men. I think spring is a much easier semester for the student athletes in football, because the fall is just so extremely busy. Their time demands are through the roof, and it's very, strenuous mentally and physically. And so when you come in the spring, you got an opportunity to get your feet on the ground and help you academically, physically, get going and lift and weights, and then spring is so much slower because you only have 15 practices, and it's very fundamental in the spring. It certainly helps.
Do you remember what it was like you didn't enroll early, so you were there in the fall when you had exploded?
Yeah, it's like, it's definitely like drinking with a fire hose. I mean, there's just a lot going on. It's very, very fast. Things move fast, and it's it's just so monotonous. It just takes time. Just day after day for so long, it gets very difficult on those freshmen. And we talk about it. I think a lot of coaches do. I mean, at some point, guys could look really good, but they're going to go through ups and downs because they're just not used to that consistency for that long. And certainly hit some highs and lows, and at times hit a little bit of a wall that you got to help push them through.
Only one running back in the class. Does that just kind of show you how much faith you have in Cavassier and AJ and some of the guys coming up?
Without a doubt. We felt very good with Chris and Cavassier and AJ going into the year. You've heard me talk about it throughout the year. We really wanted to see those guys, but when you have Benny and AJ, it's hard to get to those guys. But Cavassier and Chris, when you did see them, you saw the talent that was there, and you saw the maturity and how physical they are. They've got some speed, so definitely felt like we could just go with one running back at this point in this class, yes.
Mark, how much do you emphasis on offense to get some speed and that playmaking ability?
Yeah, I think that's always important. It's across the board, to get difference makers, change the digits on the scoreboard, and certainly on defense the same way. We needed to make sure we went and got some defensive backs, some corners.
Mark, you said you talked about Georgia, how your success you've had this year helped you there. Overall, what effect did the success you've had this year help with this particular class?
Yeah, I think it definitely had an effect. I don't think there's any question. You look at some of the guys that we closed on, some of the guys we got, some of the guys in state had an opportunity to go quite a few schools and chose to stay home. And when we went out of state, again, the same way. You look at the battles that we had with some of these kids, went down to the wire again last night, and I'm not going to mention any names, but there's schools and there's people, traditional top 10 powers calling our kids up till last night. We fought them off and got the signatures this morning.
You mentioned the word versatility. Do you ever recruit some of these guys knowing that you can maybe switch their positions?
Well, definitely. You recruit some kids as athletes and knowing that I just want them wearing blue, and exactly where they end up, sometimes you just have to figure it out.
You've said many times that it just takes a lot of people around the quarterback to make them good. Make them good, and of course he makes it about it's a combination. Talk about your wide receivers that you brought in, and one guys that help Moxley to make plays or whatever. Maybe looking at DeMarcus Harris.
Tay and DeMarcus, both guys that are very productive. Both guys that have an ability to catch the football in traffic, catch the ball when people are around them. You look at DeMarcus and the production he had in the state of Florida. Remarkable. He could go up and catch the football and again make contested catches. And very, very excited about him. His father's a football coach and plays for a guy. Mark, his father, coaches, and DeMarcus plays for a friend of mine down there at Vero that I've known for 15 years. Comes from a very good program, good coach. So very excited about that. And Tate is another guy that can really run. And that was something that was very, very important to us. It was very evident to us when we saw him in person and watched him in camp and in practice that he can go and had another gear, and that was certainly important for us to get.
Mark,
What did you like about the two quarterbacks?
Just, again, winners. Both of them are winners. You know, both did an unbelievable job leading their team to state championships, and just winners and playmakers and you know, just the things that we're looking for. I mean, obviously they can throw the ball, they can run it a little bit, they can ad-lib, but they're also very, very serious about the job. They work extremely hard at studying and have been very productive.
Any position groups you're still looking at specifically with those last 4 or 5 spots, or is it best available? Best
available. We're working on one defensive back right now, late into the day here. Maybe have some news later on today. We'll see. And then obviously I want to carry some forward into February. I want to have some available. You never know what's going to happen, what's going to shake out. There's a lot of talk and motion with kids nowadays with transfers and things of that nature, and certainly just the recruiting, the guys that are available still. And we're on some really good kids that we knew were going to take it into February, and we're still going to continue to battle with those guys as well.
2 junior college signings, outside linebacker and also cornerback. Is that are those 2 positions you thought that maybe you had to fill right away? And that's
without a doubt, yeah, without a doubt. You know, we definitely wouldn't recruit junior college players if we didn't feel like there was a need to come in and help. That doesn't mean that it's a guarantee, but both of these guys are very, very good players. And Brandon Eccles is a corner that we all know we need some help in that area. And then Marquez Bembry is an outside linebacker that got unbelievable speed and can run and you know, change directions. So both of those guys should help.
Your 2 D tackles out of Ohio were heavily pursued by other top schools. How difficult is it to recruit interior defensive linemen?
Well, that is, you know, it's a great point, and it's such a key, you know, with Kayvon and Isaiah, you know, both really good football players. I mean, when you go, and you've heard me talk, and you know, just watching and seeing recruiting, you have big defensive tackles that are big and athletic and playmakers. They're hard to get, and they're hard to hold on to. And we really did a good job as a staff. Again, Vince was the lead guy on both of those guys and did an excellent job in landing them. And that definitely was not easy. And really did a good job as a staff. And Vince did a great job of holding them down the stretch. And yeah, I was on the phone texting back and forth with Kayvon till about 10:30, 11 o'clock last night. I said, man, I got to get up early tomorrow, dog. I got to get to bed here. So, but I wasn't going to go. So.
Is that the hardest position to recruit? Are there fewer D-tackle prospects out there by sheer number?
Yeah, I think it's, you know, fair to say D-tackles, you know, are just so important. You know, and everybody wants the big, long, athletic guys, and they're difference makers. And you know, this league, you know, that's one of the positions that really changes. You know, that's one of the positions that separates the top, you know, from the bottom. And you know, you look at the great programs and the teams that are traditionally in the top 10. They've got some defensive linemen. Obviously, they got a lot of other things as well, but you got to have some D line.
Yeah. When you're having success, and maybe you can get in, so therefore maybe you can get into some doors that you couldn't get in previously and have a chance at kids. How do you balance that against not neglecting the type of kids you've got and been able to develop in the past?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and something that we'll always do. We'll always trust our evaluations and what we do, and when we go on kids, there's examples of that in this group, that we went on kids early when not a lot of people knew about them and weren't highly rated, and then eventually they would move up. But we trust our evaluation on that, and we're always going to do that with the core group of guys that come in and hit that piece that we always talk about, that developmental piece. And you know, you always got to make sure you get the right guys. And you know, Jimbo used to call those guys the glue. You know, the glue guys, and guys that are just solid and excited to be here, and going to work extremely hard, do things right, and you can win a lot of football games with them.
Eli, another local offensive lineman assignment. You guys joining Landon and Drake. what is it about these local guys? What's in the water?
Well, Eli, he wanted to come in. He saw those guys having success. He saw the way our offensive line plays and wanted to be a part of it. So we were very excited about Eli, and he was a fun guy to recruit. He's the type of guy we're looking for. He's a Kentucky kid that wants to play here and wants to continue that legacy of playing very, very physical, tough offensive line play. So, that wasn't a very hard sell. We've been doing some very good things with our offensive line, and it's great to add Eli.
Mark, you said that this season helped you down the stretch for this class. But given that a lot of this class is already committed before the season even began, do you expect the on-the-field success this year to pay off more in the next class?
Yeah, that's a good point as well, and we do. I think certainly we have a good feel and a good jump on 20, and there's some good players, and there's some good players within a 2-3 hour radius of here that have great interest in us, and we've had on campus many times, and we'll continue to do that, and certainly the winning should help.
What were your conversations with J.J. Weaver like the last few weeks? Publicly was saying, I'm absolutely committed to Kentucky, but there's this question about.
Well, they're again, you have to understand, number one, what these guys go through, and they're entitled to change their mind. And then also, they're trying to do things sometimes and announce that on their own terms. And that gets very hard and frustrating for them. At no point did we have any concern whatsoever that he was going to sign with us. It was just a matter of how and when he wanted to do it. And that's what gets tough, and then everybody reads into it. He has a ton of family that's coming that he wanted to do it in February. So he just really wanted it around all of his people, to be quite honest with you. It had nothing to do with, but everybody reads into it. And there is a lot of pressure. Let's not kid ourselves. And, believe me, I wanted his signature this morning as well. And so, but he was very, very good about it, very respectful, unbelievable family. There was never any doubt about that. And it was just a matter of semantics, just a matter of how you're going to go about doing it. And a lot of people sometimes read into that, and rightfully so, because of sometimes things that have happened before, and that's going to happen. And we learn to deal with that and move on very, very quickly. But we weren't antsy with JJ. We felt very good about JJ and what he was going to do. He was very open and honest with us, and he was great. So, terrific family, terrific young man. He was solid as a rock with us. And, as far as them saying then, well, again, things happen. Things happen, and coaches change, and, so, I understand the story there, and young kids have to understand, as they work their way into this spotlight, what they say sometimes, and, can bite you in the ass. Just take a look at some of the things I've done over the years, right? So, so you just have to, they just got to understand that, get here, get some media training and everything. But again, fantastic young man, never a problem for us at all. It was just a matter of when, where, how to go about signing.
Is there a benefit to playing in a Florida Bowl when you're going after a lot of Florida kids? Did you see that a couple years ago?
Yeah, I don't think it ever hurts, to get down there and play, and most importantly, to play on New Year's Day in such a big bowl against a quality opponent, and that exposure is really going to help you. But playing down there definitely helps as well.
What was your reaction when you saw that all the tickets, the allotment for UK, had been sold out?
It didn't surprise me. I knew we were getting close. It was just a matter of, some singles and some top rows and things like that. But the majority of our tickets sold out very quickly. It doesn't surprise me, and again, we greatly appreciate it and look forward to seeing a bunch of blue down there.
When they started,
Our color blue.
when they started the early signing period, did you envision it being like this? It could be 20 signing now and just a few signing later?
We were unsure probably going into last year, exactly what would happen, because last year was a little different, and Vince can talk about this some too, because even last year as we prepared all these players for the signing, they were so used to doing it in February that they were, waffling a bit, with, hey, I'm waiting until February, and we're like, no, let's get that, let's get this done. If you've been committed for 6 months, let's get it in the books. So this year, I guess, would be easier process than last year, being that it was the second year in a row. But yeah, we were unsure, and I think the players spoke a year ago with, again, whatever that percentage is, 90-some%, I think, of Power 5 players signed in early signing period last year. I don't know what it's like this year. So, it's good. I tell you, it's brutal. It's a brutal December. There's no doubt about that, and it's a hard month. So you feel good about it, and everybody's like, yeah, don't you want to go celebrate? No, I want to go to bed. And so, but we have to go prepare for Penn State right now. So, we're right in the middle of that. So it's been real, and I'll talk to you guys later. I got to go to work. So basically, going to get back to work here. Yeah.
What are the challenges?
Yeah, I encouraged him to do that. He was football all the way, but I felt like, Nick owes me one on that because I told him, I really did. I felt like he was too talented, and I felt like he'd regret it. I was a dual sport player coming out of high school and wanted to do that in college. I never got the opportunity. I wasn't good enough, really, to be honest with you, to play both. It was always scrapping for a position, got hurt. It just never worked out. And I always wish I'd had that opportunity, and I don't want him to feel that way. I felt like he's too talented. He could throw. We only practice, we practice every other day, 15 practices. There's no reason where a guy with that kind of talent shouldn't go explore it and go throw a little bit. He could throw the baseball, and I'm sure Nick can use an arm, so it'll be good to see him.
Baseball kept him out of the camp circuit, and I know that's where a lot of guys get rankings. Do you prefer that guys go get their rankings up on the camping circuit, or do you kind of like when they are a little bit lower?
I could care less at that point. You won't care either a year from now or 2 years from now when he's in there playing, right? It doesn't really matter. The stars don't matter. We know.
Does it make it easier for you?
I don't. Does it make it easier? Yeah, maybe. I mean, we knew him. Michael Smith had a relationship with him and knew his dad, and knew of Armani for a long time. So maybe it helped us. I know. Once we offered, and he had such a good year, and the fact that he didn't play a year also slowed him down. But once he started lighting it up this year, he got plenty of attention.
What's the biggest difference for you from that first class you came in here to now in terms of what these recruits say to you, what you're sort of selling them? I mean, the program's in a different place, but how has that changed how you recruit?
Yeah, I think early on there was plenty of really trying to find the diamonds in the rough. And we certainly won, certainly in year 2 maybe, Vince, and we won some big battles and got some marquee players, but there was still a really good dose of those diamonds in the rough type guys, the Josh Allens and the guys that you had to find that you could project. And this year, as you move forward, you start recruiting guys that you feel like are definitely a little bit, maybe more developed coming out of high school and can project a little bit easier for us. And it's also good because we're in there competing with some, traditional powers and beating them at times. And it's never easy. And I never said that. I told you day one that we were going to compete with traditional powers in recruiting, and we're going to win some and we're going to lose some. But we're going to battle them and do things right. And I think players can really come in here now and see what we have in effect. The program that we have in effect, top to bottom, the way we develop players in all areas of their life, and they can believe in that, and they can see it, and they can see the results. And there's
Is it an easier sell?
Yeah, I think it's easier in that way as well because the organization is more organized. There's more people in place. There's good people in place. The production has been there, and they could see it, and I think that helps as well.
Mark, we all know that a lot of attention is paid when guys flip away from what they got in Jerry Casey this year. Do the conversations change with recruits once they're verbally committed to somewhere, or is it just in this day and age you just have to keep recruiting everybody on?
Yeah, in this day and age, with some players, if they're verbally committed, it just means you're in the lead. And so you better we never stop recruiting. So we're always on the phone recruiting. Like I said, with Kayvon, I was texting back and forth till 10:30, 10:45 last night. And then I turned it over to Vince. I said, I'm going to bed. Make sure you stay. And I said, stay on him, big dog, all night. So, but no, you know, you're always going to stay recruiting all the way through. We never take things for granted, and we never, you know, believe me, we don't worry too much about the ones we don't get either. Believe me, it's personal. We recruit hard. We put a lot into it, and we're all competitors. But we're going to get the ones we're supposed to.
What were your expectations for Moses Douglas? He's kind of a big kid.
It's a great point, you know, because not a lot's been said about him because he's such a dynamic player that because he's been so solid to us, wouldn't even take another trip. And the kid, you know, been offered by practically the entire Power Five, you know, and so can play just about anywhere in the country and's been recruited by almost all those schools in some form or fashion. And he's just been so solid with us. In a remarkable family. He is, you know, he's a guy that we should not take for granted because he's been so solid. You know, he's a talented football player, very good size on him, and again very versatile. But no, he's a safety. Yeah. No, he's a safety. Mm-hmm. We like big safety. He's not nearly as big as Sean Taylor, and everybody told me Sean Taylor was going to be a safety. Yeah.
A lot of people talk about his football intelligence. What have you observed there, just being around him on these visits?
Doesn't surprise you. Again, being Mo's son, and you know, son of a coach, and they're constantly working at it. Whether it's watching film, working out, around 7-on-7s. He's with his dad and around, you know, football all the time, and you know, so it doesn't surprise me that he has a high football IQ.
There's been a lot of social media buzz about parents putting on the uniform. Did you guys feel like you were ahead of the curve when you let Nick Ojanovic stay?
Well, he's the only one. I thought he was the player. No, when we saw Nick, yeah, he's a big dude, so he looks good in that uniform. As for the rest of them, I don't know if we'll do that all the time. Yeah.
Mark, what was the story on Taj Dodson? Taj Dodson,
yeah. I mean, we've been on him all year, and brought him in this past weekend and got him committed finally. So, you know, he's a guy that we've liked and recruited, and he's been, I guess, relatively quiet in the recruiting front and just kind of going about his business and going through his visits. We had an opportunity to get him up on campus and got him committed, and so I was very excited about that. It's a big need. Yeah, he's definitely got some range on, that's for sure. He's got some good length, and he could run, but yeah, real good size, and he could run and change direction, so definitely very excited about him. Yeah, we needed it. You know, we needed some bigger corners. I don't know if we could ever get as big as we were this year with those three monsters, but we'll continue to look for them. Yep. Good.
All right, folks.
Thank you.
Yep.